6 stories, 60 years, and the same calculation repeated again and again. Fixing the defect costs more than paying for the dead. 5 cars, and the device that was supposed to save your life. Different makers, different decades, different continents. And one detail that says it all. Some names will appear twice in this video because this is not the story of a mistake. It is the story of a habit. We begin in 1960 with a car that looked like the future. The Chevrolet Corvair was the most innovative car General Motors had ever built. Rear engine, European looks, and instant hit. But it hid a problem. A rear suspension with swing axles. In a hard corner, a wheel could tuck under the car, and the Corvair spun without warning. The GM engineers proposed the fix, a stabilizer bar. Cost about $15 per car. Management said no, too expensive. Years later, a GM executive named John DeLorean would tell the story from the inside in his memoirs. Yes, that DeLorean. But that is another story on this channel. In 1965, a young unknown lawyer published a book about the defects the industry was hiding. Chapter 1 was the Corvair. His name was Ralph Nader, and the book became a national bestseller. The response from General Motors? Hiring private detectives to spy on him and destroy his reputation. They got caught. The president of GM had to apologize to Nader before the United States Senate and pay him $425,000. Nader used the money to fund the consumer rights movement. The scandal was so big that in 1966, Congress passed the first federal auto safety laws in American history, the laws the rest of the world would later copy. GM had already added the stabilizer bar, quietly in 1964, $15. That was always the price of everything. 10 years later, another manufacturer ran the same numbers, this time with the price in writing. The Ford Pinto carried its fuel tank right behind the rear axle. In a rear-end crash, even a moderate one, it could rupture and burn in seconds. The crash tests run by Ford itself proved it before the car ever went on sale. The fix cost a few dollars per unit. Ford skipped it. Then came the document, an internal cost-benefit analysis that put a price on a human life, $200,000. Paying for the dead, it concluded, was cheaper than fixing the cars. Regulators documented 27 deaths in Pinto fires. Journalists claimed the real number was in the hundreds. In 1978, Ford recalled 1.5 million Pintos and became the first American corporation ever put on criminal trial for homicide. Ford was acquitted, but the memo was already public, and America learned what a life was worth in a Detroit office. Ford learned the lesson. Just kidding, the next story is also theirs. The Ford Bronco II launched in 1983. A compact SUV, tall, narrow, built on the chassis of a pickup truck. 1 in every 500 ended up in a fatal rollover. Court documents revealed that Ford knew the danger before launch. The engineers warned about it. The answer from the company? Quietly dropping the riskiest test maneuvers and selling the car unchanged. In 1989, Consumer Reports told America, "Do not buy this car." The insurance giant Geico refused to even insure it. In 1987 alone, 43 people died in Bronco II rollovers. In total, an estimated 260 deaths and $2.4 billion in settlements. Ford never recalled it. In 1990, it was replaced by the Explorer, which inherited the problem, and years later would star in its own deadly scandal with Firestone tires. But that story deserves its own video. So far, the defects were in the cars. The next company made the very thing that was supposed to save you. In May 2009, Ashley Parham, 18 years old, had a minor crash in a school parking lot in Oklahoma. The airbag deployed, and it killed her. She was the first known victim of the biggest safety scandal in automotive history. Takata was one of the largest airbag makers in the world. Honda, Toyota, BMW, Ford, Chrysler, everyday cars in millions of garages. Inside the inflator was a propellant, ammonium nitrate. Takata chose it for one simple reason: it was cheaper than the stable alternatives. Over the years, heat and humidity degraded it, and when it fired, the inflator did not deploy the airbag. It exploded, shooting metal fragments at the driver, shrapnel inside the car. And here is what Takata did not want you to know. In 2004, the company ran secret tests on inflators recovered from scrapyards. They failed. The response? Deleting the data and selling on. The result? Around 100 million inflators recalled worldwide. The biggest recall in history. At least 27 confirmed deaths in the United States alone. In 2017, Takata pleaded guilty to fraud, paid $1 billion, and went bankrupt. But millions of affected cars are still on the road today because their owners never answered the notice. When this video ends, check if your car has an open recall. It is free and it takes 2 minutes. All of this happened with regulators watching. The last 2 stories happened where nobody was watching. The Chevrolet Aveo was one of the best-selling cars in Mexico. In 2015, Latin NCAP crashed it. 0 stars. The structure collapsed on impact. The version Mexicans actually bought did not carry a single airbag. The European version of the same car carried 4. In 2017, Chevrolet added 2 airbags and Latin NCAP ran the test again. The result? 0 stars. Again, because the problem was never the airbags, it was a body shell that could not take the hit. 2 airbags cost about $100 per car. $100 that GM did not spend for years, knowing the risk. Global NCAP wrote an open letter to the CEO of GM. It said, literally, that Chevrolet performed worse on safety than every other major global car maker. The same company that built the Corvair 60 years later. The same calculation, only the continent had changed. And if one car maker could sell a car without airbags in 2015, another one could sell a car designed in 1988 until 2017. 2 cars of the same make, built by the same company, crash head-on at the same speed. In one, the driver walks away. In the other, the driver dies. The Nissan Tsuru was the best-selling car in Mexico for years. A design from the late 80s, frozen in time for 25 years. No airbags, none of the modern crash structures. And it was not an oversight. In 2001, Nissan made it even cheaper by stripping equipment out. Mexico required no minimum crash standards, and without a law, there was no incentive. Between 2007 and 2012, the car was involved in more than 4,000 deaths on Mexican roads. the highest fatality rate in the country. And it was the taxi of Mexico. The victims were disproportionately taxi drivers and their passengers. In 2013, Latin NCAP crashed it. 0 stars for adults and for children. They launched a global campaign. Nissan kept selling it for 3 more years. Until October 2016, when safety organizations did something never seen before. They crashed a Mexican Tsuru into an American Versa. Same company, same factories, only the country of sale was different. The Versa protected its driver. The Tsuru disintegrated. The difference was not the speed. It was everything one car had been given, and the other had been denied. Nissan announced the end of the car that same week and still sold 15,000 more before stopping the lines. As a farewell, it launched a commemorative edition, 1,000 numbered units, to celebrate the car linked to more than 4,000 deaths. The full story of the Tsuru with the complete crash test is on this channel. Link below and on the end screen. Corvair, Pinto, Bronco, Takata, Aveo, Tsuru, 60 years, 3 continents, 2 repeat offenders, and always the same spreadsheet. None of these stories came out because someone was honest. They came out because of a stubborn lawyer, a leaked memo, court documents, and independent crash test. Which car maker do you think is running that same calculation right now in 2026? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell. Every week, a story the auto industry would rather you forgot.